Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Age Interrupted. Today, we're going to talk a lot about nutrition. So, let me ask you, have you ever met someone who went on a new diet and lost maybe 5 pounds or even 10 pounds in the first week? And you wondered, how is that even possible? But it can happen. In fact, I am on day 5 of my new program that I'm following my frameworks method. And so I've only had 4 days because today's the 5th day. I lost 4 pounds. And so of course it's not fat. It's not all fat. There's some fat. There's a lot of bloat and water weight, and just your body is flushing out, or my body specifically. I'm using myself as an example. My body is flushing out just things that didn't serve it. Just talking about yesterday. Don't fix what's broken, replace it. So I'm replaced old habits, brought in new habits, and my body's flushing it out. So does that mean I can lose 30 pounds in 30 days since I lost 4 pounds in 4 days? No, of course not. That's not possible. It doesn't really continue on past the first week or so. Some people less, if they were already eating pretty clean when they start a new program, maybe they won't lose a dramatic amount of weight. But we'd been traveling a lot, and I had restaurants. And so a lot of it was, just like I said, bloating from sodium intake from Mexican restaurants, my favorite. So that brings me to today's point, nutrition. It really is the most important thing. Some people will say your results are 80% nutrition and 20% training. And I will almost stick my neck out there, even as a certified personal trainer, and say that it's 90% nutrition and 10% training. It's close. Maybe it's 85-15. Now we're just splitting hairs, no pun intended. And let me preface, you have to lift weights. You have to train with resistance of some sort to have the fit, toned body that you want. There's no question about it. You can't watch your nutrition, not lift weights or do resistance training and look the way you want to look. You won't. You'll be thinner and leaner, maybe even the skinny fat, but you're not going to be tight and toned. You have to lift weights. So now that I got that out of the way, I can continue on with nutrition, because the fact is, and you've probably heard it before, maybe you have or not, that you can't out train a bad diet. No matter how much you work out, no matter if you are in the gym all the time, every day of the week, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, cardio, even lifting weights. If you eat 3, 4, 5,000 calories a day, if you're driving through McDonald's drive-through and having that Mexican restaurant every night, followed by your bakery or ice cream shop of choice, you're going to have a layer of fluff on you. Like, that's really where I have been. Now, those were extreme examples of food, but training, working out, enjoying it, because I love movement, activity, fitness, lifting weights, but also enjoying the food a little bit too much. And so that's what I've been talking about, that I have really reeled in, and I'm going to show you what my framework system can do for me, which will be what it can do for you too. So we'll get there when we get there. Have to slow down. But nutrition is the most important. You have to eat at a calorie deficit, which means less calories consumed, less calories that you eat than what you actually burn. So that is the difference. And we're going to talk about macros in just a minute, but I just really want to drive home this point that you can't out train, you can't outwork, you can't outrun, you can't out walk on the treadmill, can't out Zumba dance a bad diet. So if you want a difference, if you want to make a difference, you have to work out by lifting weights, not just cardio. Honestly, I don't really even do cardio. I haven't done any cardio. Let me clarify. I haven't done any cardio. I've done 5 minutes of warm-ups for my weightlifting sessions, but I haven't done any cardio at all in these 4 days, and I won't. I don't have any plans to add any. But you can't do like on a hamster wheel to try to make up the difference in your nutrition. Okay, so off that soapbox, let's talk about nutrition. Let's talk about macros. You've probably heard of it. Some people haven't. The younger kids have. The macros is macronutrients. It's all one word, macronutrients. Our body needs 3 types of macronutrients. We need protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And you'll hear people call carbohydrates carbs, right? So we have these 3 types of macronutrients. They have calories. Each one of those types of macronutrients, protein has 4 calories per gram. We measure, let me rewind. We measure macronutrients in grams, in weight, right? So in America, we're not used to thinking about grams. We think about pounds and ounces, but just know that in every pound, so if you have 1 pound in America, that is 454 grams. So we're just measuring weight, but in a different way. So every gram, every 1 little gram of protein has 4 calories. And every gram of carbohydrate has 4 calories. Now, fat is a different story. Every gram of fat, so it's weighing the same. It's still just the gram, but it has 9 calories. And calories just means how much energy is contained within that food. So every gram of fat has 9 calories. It's more calorie dense, which is also why adding fat to your foods will help keep you satiated, full, and happy, and help your hormones and all sorts of things. But that's not what the point of this particular podcast is about. Okay, so we have the basics. We have 3 macronutrients: protein, carbohydrates, fats. So what we'd have to do is we have to first figure out how many calories that our body needs to, I'm going to just use the example that we're trying to do a body recomposition. We want to lose fat, gain muscle. Not that we're going to put on a lot of muscle and have some giant arms and legs and look like Hulk or Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not what I mean. But we want to body recomp. We want to lose some of the fat. We want to put on a little muscle so we're toned and tight and look nice, have curves in the right places, not our muffin top rolls. And so we have to do a calorie deficit, which means, like I said, we're going to take in less calories than we're actually using, so that includes activity, that includes working out, that includes walking from your couch to the mailbox, that includes breathing, that includes your cells making energy, like that includes everything you require to live. We have to take in less calories than our body takes to live. So to figure that out, it's a little bit dependent. Take your weight, whatever your weight is now, not your goal weight. Take your weight. Unless you weigh over 200 pounds, then you can take maybe your goal weight, depending on if you're being reasonable with your goal weight. If you weigh 210 pounds, perhaps your goal weight should be 160 pounds, not 120 pounds, okay? So take other than that caveat, take your weight, what it is now. If you weigh 170 pounds, that's how much you weigh. So you're going to take that. The next thing you have to think about is, what is my activity level just regularly, not counting what workout I'm going to do or going to the gym. Do I sit at a desk all day? Do I drive a bus all day? Sitting? Am I an aerobics instructor and I work out for a living? Or am I an electrician and I'm always moving and going up and bending and, right? So you have to figure out what's your activity level. If you are sedentary or mostly sedentary, and so I guess you do you have to add your working out in a little bit, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But for a lot of people who aren't doing a lot of working out, nothing heavy, maybe 3 times a week, and mostly sedentary, take your weight, 170 pounds. Did I say 175 or 170? I already forgot. I just made it up. I don't have any notes, and I don't remember. I think I said 175. So take your weight, I don't remember which I used, 175 pounds, we'll just say, times 10. So that gives you 1,750 calories. That's how many calories you need, not to live, but to lose weight. So that's it automatically calculates for you how much you need to lose weight. 1,750 calories a day. Okay. So here's another caveat from that. If you can start there. Most people can start there. You can also increase it anywhere up to times 15. So we just multiplied times 10, but you can take your weight up to times 15. Now, most people aren't going to do times 15 unless you really just are looking to put on muscle and you're already fairly lean. Yes, you have 5 pounds, 7 pounds of just looseness in places. You might multiply times 15 as you start to lift heavy. And as you clean up the foods you put into your body, it's not just about if it fits my macros, if I can eat it because it fits my macros. And so I'm going to have Pop-Tarts for every meal. Right? No, we're going to choose whole foods, nutritious foods. But those people can go up to the 15. Most people won't be there, won't be 14. Most people will live at times 10 or times 11, maybe times 12. Say you are a runner and you're like, I'm not giving up running. I love running. I'll add weights, but I'm not giving up running. And yes, I'm soft because believe it or not, people who do a lot of cardiovascular activity still can be really soft and poochy if they haven't lifted any weights. So those people might multiply times 12. Unless they're like marathon long distance runners, then they might multiply times 15. So you see, there's like a little bit of an art to figuring out your macros, which is, I think, why it kind of can be confusing, but it's really not that difficult. A lot of us fall into the times 10, maybe times 11 place. And it's pretty simple. If you're fairly active, you can multiply times 12, times 13. If you're super active and pretty lean and you just are trying to put on muscle and really just fine tune, then maybe times 14 or 15. Like that's the blueprint. That's the template. Okay. So that's how many calories you're going to eat every day. That is already got your calorie deficit, losing weight, tightening up, calculated in it. You don't have to worry about anything else. So next, what you will do is you will take your weight that you weigh right now, again, unless you weigh over 200 pounds, take your weight right now. If you weigh 175, then honestly, if you weigh, okay, rewind just a second. If you weigh over 175 pounds and you're just starting here, you're also not going to follow this next step. You are, but you're not. Everyone that weighs 165 pounds or less will eat 1 gram of protein per pound they weigh. If you weigh 140 pounds, have 140 grams of protein. If you weigh 165 pounds, eat 160 grams of protein. Once you're over 165, default to 165. So it's not difficult. It's just, as women just starting on this road, you don't want to eat more than 165 grams of protein. That's already a lot, and you're already probably going to feel like that's a struggle, most likely. So if you're under 165, eat however much you weigh right now, not your goal weight. Eat that many grams of protein every single day. And if you're over 165, you still only eat 165 grams of protein every single day. Okay, so I'm going to need my calculator. So let me get my phone out. So if you take 165, well, yes, we'll go there. We'll use 165 as an example because that's the most number of calories. Even if I weigh 175 pounds, I'm only going to eat 165 grams of protein. So I'm going to multiply 165 grams of protein, or 165 grams. And what I said earlier, protein has 4 calories per gram. So I'm going to multiply 165 times 4. That number will be how many of my calories out of the 1,750 I found out I could have a day to lose weight and to body recomp. So I'm going to do 1,750, my total calories for the day, minus 660, which is what I got when I multiplied. And I got 1,090. So that gives me 1,090 calories left to use for carbohydrate and fat. Now, the next thing I like to do is figure out, there's a few ways to figure out your fat and carb breakdown. And I just say start here and then figure out, like, for the foods you enjoy, if you need to split it a little bit differently. Okay. So I say every woman needs at least 55 grams of fat a day. So I'm going to take 55 grams times 9, which is 495 calories. So 55 grams of fat a day is 495 calories. So now we're going to subtract that from the 1090 that we had left from the carbs, and we get 595. That's how many calories that we have left for carbohydrate. Because we have 165 grams of protein, we figured 55 grams of fat, and 595 calories for carbohydrate is left. Divide that by 4, because why? Because carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram. And that gives us 149 grams of carbohydrate. So we just figured out the macros for someone that weighs 175 pounds, wants to body recomp, has obviously a decent amount of weight to lose, or wants to lose weight. Say maybe this person's 5'2" or 5'3", because height matters on if 175 is a lot of weight to lose or a little bit of weight to lose. So I should preface it. That's how you figure out your macros. If someone follows this plan, these numbers, it's literally not rocket science. If your body doesn't adjust immediately and you do that week where you lose 3 to 5 to 7 pounds all at once in 1 week, keep giving it time, because it means that you've done a little something to your metabolism and your body is just upset at you and mad. Maybe you've been yo-yo dieting. Maybe you haven't been eating enough. If you've been eating too much, you will lose weight. But if some of the other things apply, it might take a little bit longer for your body to be like, okay, fine, I will let go of some of this weight. But figure out your macros. When someone says macros, this is what they mean: 165 grams of protein, 55 grams of fat, and 149 grams of carbs. Start there. Eat that every single day for 2 weeks before you make any changes. And then you can decide, okay, do I want to switch some carbs for some fats by substituting, you take away this many calories of carbs and you turn those into calories of fat or grams of fat. Protein never changes until you lose a significant weight, like say 10 pounds. Maybe every 10 pounds you recalculate your macros. But and it can even be every 15 pounds, depends on how fast you're losing. If you lose 10 pounds fast, don't decrease your food. If it takes a while to lose the 10 pounds, then maybe at that 10 pounds, you go ahead and you recalculate your macros. But it's not too hard, but just know that a lot of people can get help with this. And I am one of those people who will offer you help with your macros. It is something that I do in my one-on-one coaching program, where I use my frameworks method to help women do a body recomp of their own. You can email me at ageinterruptedfitness@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at age_interrupted, or message me on Facebook, which is just at @ageinterrupted. And I can get you more information about the beta program that will be starting very soon. And I also will have another option that I'm working on to get people into just basically doing a DIY coaching program, where you get the information sent to you every month, new workouts, and I take you step by step, written down like on the board, teaching you how to do your macros. And so if this was, you can always rewind this and listen to it again to walk through it. But your macros are the most important thing, keeping your calories correct and your protein correct. If your fat and carbs do get mixed matched, now I still say for the first 2 weeks, eat what we just calculated, and then you can see how it works. But your calories and your protein should always stay the same. Now, if you were one of those people who multiplied times 12, 13, 14, or 15, then and you're not losing weight after 2 weeks, then maybe reassess what number you multiplied by. Maybe you multiplied by 13 and you should maybe try multiplying by 11. And then the only other thing I will say is, yes, that you have 165 grams of protein. And so what you're going to want to try to do is spread that over. Let's see, if you spread that over 4 meals, then that's about 40 grams of I'm sorry, did I say carbs or protein? It's Friday, my brain. Of that 165 grams of protein, you don't want to eat it all at once. You want to spread it out over 3 to 4 meals, preferably, probably 4 meals, maybe in a post-workout shake. But it does make it doable to get that much protein in. You just have to center every meal you eat around protein. Like, okay, here's my protein. Now, what else do I want? So I hope this was helpful. And just know also, actually, let me say this before I sign off. It's Friday. If you happen to go out this weekend, start thinking about building all of your meals around protein, even in restaurants. You know, what protein do you want to eat, and then have the sides to go with it. And that will make sure you get enough protein in to build the muscle that you're working so hard in the gym for. And it helps you as you're in a calorie deficit. Your body's going to want to like burn some of the muscle you already have, and you do not want to lose your muscle, especially as we get older. Like, it wants to go away on its own, much less us helping it by being in a calorie deficit. So by getting enough protein, our body will avoid our skeletal muscle more and go and use the protein that we're eating. So it's super important to get your protein. Then secondly, stay under your macros. And okay, the most important thing is your macros, like your calories. I'm sorry, keep your calories right. Don't be eating 3,000 calories and 165 grams of protein. That's not going to work for you. Keep your calories right, keep your protein up, lift weights. And that's what it takes to do a great body recomposition. So until next time, I'm Jill White. I hope you have a great day.